right, so we're going to do a little blast from the past. Back in Unit 2, we talked about the term complementary. And complementary means that the sum of two angles is 90 degrees. So that means if I add up two angles and they add up to 90 degrees, that means they're complementary. So if I can ask a question, what is the complement of 42 degrees? And so what that means is complement, we know they mean they have to add up to 90. So I can do 90 minus 42 degrees. And what do I get? I get 48 degrees. So that means 48 degrees is the complement of 42 degrees. And so let's try another one. What is the complement of 53 degrees? So again, we're going to do 90 minus 53. And we get that the complement is 37 degrees. And then let's try one more. What is the complement of 27? And so the complement of 27 is 63 degrees because we did 90 minus 27 degrees. So now let's just practice a little bit more using the Desmos calculator to find the sine and cosine. So remember, you can do a split screen here. With the Desmos calculator. But just remember, when you get your Desmos calculator up, in order to use this for trig functions, you need to change the mode to degree. So make sure you hit the little wrench and then you hit degree. Okay, so now let's find the sine of 42 degrees. So we use our calculator, we hit the functions button. Again, we hit sine of 42. And we get roughly about 0.67. So the sine here, 0.67, rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so now let's find the cosine of 42. So again, hit functions, hit cosine, and now we're going to hit the cosine of 42, which is about 0.74. Okay. Not too bad. But now let's find the sine and cosine of the complement of 42 degrees. So remember, the complement of 42 degrees was 48 degrees. So let's find the sine of 48 degrees. So again, we're going to hit the functions, sine 48. And so we get that as 0.74. And then let's find the cosine of the complement. So we got the cosine, functions, the cosine of 48 degrees, which is again the 0.067. All right. So looking at that, what do you notice? Okay, and if you notice something, hold that and let's see if that will continue to hold true. So let's do another example. Let's find the sine of 53 degrees. So we got the sine of 53 degrees, which is 0.8 around it. And then let's do the cosine of 53 degrees. It's 0.60. Alright, so now let's find the sine and cosine of the complement. So remember, the complement of 53 was 37 degrees. So we want to find the sine of 37 degrees. We get that as 0.60. Oops, sorry. then let's go ahead and find the cosine of 37 degrees. I always want to type it in. So we get the cosine of 37 degrees, which we get as 0.8. Okay. So again, looking at this, what do you notice? You see any relationships here? Anything that can you can try to summarize? All right, so let's try it one more time. So let's do the sine of 27. We get roughly about 0.45. Now let's find the cosine of 27 degrees. About 0.89. Alright, so now let's find the sine and cosine of the complement. So remember, the complement of 27 degrees was 63 degrees. So now we're going to find the sine of 63 degrees. Do we have any guesses about what the sine of 63 degrees is before we put it into the calculator? And so the sine of 63 degrees is about 0.89. And then let's find the cosine of 63 degrees. And hopefully by now you've come up with what you think that should be. And so that is roughly about 0.45. Okay. So again, do you notice anything? So what I look like I see is that the sine of an angle looks to be equal to the cosine of its complement, or the cosine of an angle seems to be the same as the sine of its complement. And so hopefully you've noticed that the sine of an angle is equal to the cosine of the complement of that angle. Or you can write it as the sine of x is equal to the cosine of 90 minus x. And remember, 90 minus x is how you get the complement. And this works vice versa. You can have the cosine of x is equal to the sine of the complement of x, and vice versa. Okay, so let's do some practice here. So we'll make this full screen. So here we got the sine of 15 is equal to the cosine of 75. But because 15 and 75 add up together to equal 90, they're complements of each other. So we know their sine and cosines are equal. So let's look at example 2. We have the cosine of 40 degrees is going to be equal to the sine of its complement. So the complement of 40 would be 50 degrees. And you can check that in your calculator. You can put in the cosine of 40 and you can put in the sine of 50 and see that you get the same thing. So now let's try this one. For example 3, we have the cosine of 8 is going to be equal to the sine of what? And so now we need the complement of 8, which you'll do 90 minus 8, which is 82 degrees. Okay, so these values will be equal to each other. And then in example 4, the sine of 26 degrees is going to be equal to the cosine of what? So we're going to do 90 minus 26 to get the complement, and the complement would be 64 degrees. And you can again check all of these in the calculator, and you'll see that you get the exact same value. So take a second and pause the video. I want you to try examples 5 through 8 and see what you come up with. All right, and these are the answers you should have gotten for 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, and that's the end of the video.